This is the You, Me, and BTC podcast. Welcome to the show today. I think I've decided at this point that I'm going to mix the intros. I think we're just going to go straight from the music to the show. We'll see how it goes.
That intro just killed it for you. That little one right there, it was too hard.
I am really confused right now. What was too hard?
Okay, never mind. Just go. I'm completely fine with you nixing them for how bad that was, though. You might as well get rid of them after this.
No. I don't mean nixing the entire intro. I mean nixing the post-production intro that I would record.
Fuck.
Oh
Okay,
my
never mind.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to the show today, episode 109 of the You, Me, and BTC podcast. I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with
Tim Baker.
And John Stuart.
Hey guys, we have to welcome a completely new audience this week because we made it into the LRN.FM podcast loop. It's the Liberty Radio Network, and they take a bunch of live shows and a bunch of podcasts, and they send them out pretty much in all kinds of ways. So anyone that is listening on LRN.FM, huge thank you for being here. Hope you'll check us out. We've been doing this for 108 episodes so far. 109 is here. I hope you enjoy it. We like to have fun. If you want to check out what we're about and past episodes and articles and some Bitcoin tools and everything, all of that is at youmeandbtc.com. You should. The best way that you can keep up with us is Twitter, at YouMeAndBTC. We're also on Facebook and YouTube and whatever, but I think Twitter is the best way if you want to grab a hold of us and our news and whatever. That was a weird way of saying that, but whatever.
If you want to grab a hold of our news.
Anyway, yeah, hey, it's like LRN is on satellite in North America and Africa, so I know Tim hates Africa,
That was
but
the two places, and that's not the best way to introduce me to people either.
I don't know. I think it's a pretty good, like, there's recordings that would say otherwise.
Exactly.
And I think that's a pretty good way,
Recordings.
like, introducing somebody shouldn't be like, I feel like
That
if
is
the
true.
person doesn't...
You get them at your worst, or at least
Well,
at
the
some
person
point
doesn't-
bad, and then, yeah.
I don't think a person should be in charge of telling other people how to present them to other people.
yeah, well, if you guys aren't sure what we mean by Tim hating Africa, you just got to listen to all the other shows. Every one of them.
You got to pick out the little
We don't
there's
know what
little clues,
episodes.
apparently.
Yeah.
We
Find
don't
it
know which
yourself.
episodes. You have to find them.
Start
Yeah.
from the beginning. It's a very good place to start.
Someone has done it, so it is possible.
So that's true. Yeah, people have done it. At least one person. Anyway, this is your Bitcoin and Liberty podcast. That's been our tagline for a little bit now. We started with Bitcoin and then we got into all kinds of Liberty stuff. So now we do both. And therefore, we're going to talk about Bitcoin today. So we're going to get right to it with a Reddit post from Erik Voorhees. And this is kind of about the civil war that has been going on with Mike Hearn and Bitcoin XT and the block size and everything. He thinks that there's hope for it, and we'll give you the details and offer some opinion. But yeah, so I'm going to let Tim take it away.
You kind of did all the introduction that I wanted to do.
No, you're not. You're not introducing it. You're giving us the details now, Tim.
Well, Dan, part of the problem is there aren't any details yet because this is still just a thing that nothing has happened yet, has it?
Yeah, but he thinks there's hope. Why? He has? This is so clear.
Just
Tim.
read
It's
the
not
post.
hard. Exactly.
I can do what I want.
All right, then get out of here because you don't want to be here.
That escalated quickly.
So aggressive. Anyway, he thinks there's hope because they're starting to show some more communication to the community. See, I didn't actually read it word for word. I just made up my own way to say it. I thought it was pretty good. Anyway, he says they're taking some good steps towards making a better effort towards talking to people and explaining things more. There's a new official Twitter account. There was a creation of bitcoincore.org, and bitcoincore.slack.com apparently has a lot of discussion going on there. And actually, there's a post on this Reddit post they linked to. Anyway, it's a post by... Did you say who it was by? You said it was by Erik Voorhees? Correct?
Yeah, this is Erik Voorhees.
Okay, I don't know what Daniel was doing there while he was trying to get into talk, but whatever, folks. You can think whatever you want. He
it's
also...
a mystery.
What?
It's a mystery. You'll never know.
Yeah. So he in the post he's thanking the core developers for opening up and starting to try and talk more. Which actually, in the article that we did last week about who was leaving,
Mike Hearn.
Mike Hearn. Someone made the point that part of the problem with the discussion is that the one side, the Bitcoin core development team, are not the best at getting their ideas out and talking about things because, I mean, the one person's explanation for that was because they were working on things other people's explanations could be they're just wrong. But anyway, they have a history of not being the most, I don't know if I want to say open, because I just don't know enough about it, but just not explaining themselves well, not putting out information to people. So it looks like they're starting to do that more, and he thinks that they can, in his words, end the civil war that's been going on over this whole thing.
So let's start there. Before we get into, he says there's 2 moves that could end the civil war, but before we get into the specifics, let's just start with the more general idea of communication. Now, we talked about this a lot last week, but this is, I mean, it's a little more specific here. He says that communication has been the core issue, maybe. Well, he doesn't say the core issue.
The core issue.
I already got it, John.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Still better than Daniel's jokes.
So, what do you guys think about that? I mean, has that been the real issue, communication? And if it has, or even if it hasn't been the main issue, do you think that, Bitcoin.org and the Bitcoin Core Twitter account and Bitcoin Core Slack, do you guys think that these will be helpful, or are they just wastes of time? I don't know. What do you guys think about the whole idea of communication in Bitcoin and how they're trying to solve it?
Well, I don't see how it could be a bad thing, for starters.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, you have to know what the problems are and what people are actually planning on to solve them. I don't know, but even farther back than that, do you think that's what the problem has been? Or are they just blowing smoke here? Are they just like, oh, we're going to communicate better?
I think there's some truth to that. If anything, the lack of communication, if you want to call it that, probably, even if it's less about people knowing what they're actually doing, I think people tend to be more hostile just in general to people who aren't like communicating with them well. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, that I could definitely see.
If two people are having a discussion on something and like when there's communication issues, it tends to get hostile and violent more quickly.
Yeah, actually that's a really good point, and I think I would completely agree. Like, yeah, I mean exactly what you said. When you communicate, it's just, it might not solve the issue. I mean, communication is not going to fix things, but it's going to make things less hostile when you're like, okay, we recognize there's a problem. We recognize that we disagree. This is what I think. This is what you think, so let's keep communicating. Now that we know the issues, let's keep communicating and see if we can find a solution. So the communication is not the solution itself, but it is very beneficial in getting to the solution. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I mean, it opens things, yeah, like what you're saying, it opens things up, and I was talking down. It opens things up, and just as soon as people are more willing to be more open and just talk more, even if it doesn't really solve anything, it still makes it look better. And it doesn't look like part of the problem with this whole argument, not to say that you can't have these arguments because it's bad press, but it's good ammo for people looking at the Bitcoin community and pointing out that there are differences, and somehow that means that it won't work. So anything that's going to show like an effort on someone's part to be more open and to talk more is going to probably do at least some good, at least for public image, which, again, you shouldn't keep away from arguing about stuff just because of public image, but it's still not something you can't forget about it.
Yeah. Say that one more time, just in a sentence or two. I mean, I think I agree, but I just want to. You see that we have to communicate, Tim. I want to understand you better.
Thank you, Daniel, and that makes me feel so much better. For no other purpose than just because it makes the community look better as a whole, being more open is just good. And not just the Bitcoin community. Any community that is going to be more open is.
Wait, what about privacy, Tim? I thought privacy was important.
It's a little bit. That's actually, we should clear that up. What are they meaning by open and just communicating more? Are they talking about, like asking people what to do first, or what? I mean, because that's what I mean. Also, that's actually a completely separate one than what I was talking about. That's fine for privacy, but whenever you, like, as a singular person, but once you get involved in the community, part of becoming part of a community, you lose some amount of privacy. And it depends on how involved in the community you want to get. But the more involved you get, the less privacy you have. Even if it's not, like, some people do it on purpose. I mean, even if it's not on purpose, you're still going to lose more privacy as you involve people with what you do. So,
well, privacy isn't really that good of a thing when we're talking about community issues.
No.
Right. Yeah,
this is like the same thing with the TPP, where like people are saying that privacy is actually like the worst thing in a case like that, where it's people making decisions for a bunch of other people.
Right. That's exactly right. And I was just trying to beg the question or whatever. That's probably not the right term. But yeah, I mean, I agree.
Play devil's advocate, not beg the question.
Yeah, sure, that right there.
See, I just want to show you're stupid and don't know.
See, let's communicate, Tim. Why do you think I'm stupid? Daniel. Why do you think I'm stupid? All right, no, I don't actually want to know.
Like
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Okay, so yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, privacy, real important. You know, there's whatever million arguments for it and a million reasons it's a good thing. We don't even have to get into that. A lot of people know that and agree. But yes, in terms of a community, when you're talking about developing a currency that thousands of people use, then of course you have to be open. I mean, there's no question about it. You have to let people know what improvements or changes or developments you're going to make and why you're going to make them and how you think it should help, because you also have to know if they disagree or if they think it's going to ruin the currency, because it affects, I mean, right now we could say thousands, but for a lot of us, we hope that theoretically someday it'll be everyone around the world. And when you're talking about that many people, you better know what people are planning on, what people are trying to accomplish, and how they're trying to do that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that what you guys were saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, let's move on a little bit then. Like I said, there's two specific moves that he lays out here that he thinks can at least start to end the Civil War. But
I want to point out that he says no less than both.
Okay.
Anything less than both is unlikely to settle the issue. So it's not like he's saying these are two options. He's saying these are two things that need to happen.
Right. Absolutely. And I'll actually read that whole paragraph because I'm not like Tim. I'm okay with reading it. And this whole post isn't that long. So I'll just read that word for word. This suggestion is based on discussions with various parties over the past 2 weeks. Anything less than both is unlikely to settle the issue in any meaningful way. That suggestions are being given to CORE as opposed to CORE's opponents is not an indication that CORE is, quote, primarily at fault, or that it's CORE's responsibility to fix things. Rather, it's because CORE has the power and position to effect meaningful change, in my opinion. So I'm going to try and say that one more time because it's a little interesting wording. That suggestions are being given to CORE as opposed to CORE's opponents is not an indication that CORE is primarily at fault. So I guess he's saying that because, people are giving suggestions to CORE, but that doesn't mean it's their fault or that they're the ones that have to fix things. He just thinks they're the ones who are best able to fix things. Is that how you guys read that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
This guy is trying to communicate very well.
Communication. What a great thing. We've been communicating for 109 episodes now, and it's, I don't know. I guess we must like it if we do it
You're
that much.
You're still this bad at it.
All right, so...
You're still communicating.
So, move one. John, you want to cover move one? Move number one?
Sure. All right, move one. CORE clearly commits to a hard fork block size increase by adding it to its formal roadmap. The specific plan should probably be the 248 plan as proposed initially by Adam Back, and which achieved widespread consensus after the scaling conferences. The time to add it to the roadmap is now, and the time to execute the HF should then, within reason, be up to CORE's stewardship. This needn't interfere with, and is certainly not a replacement for, the much beloved SEGWIT, which is segregated witness. If I don't know if I pronounced it well enough for people to know that without me saying.
Yeah, we covered SEGWIT. I love that word. We covered SEGWIT 2 or 3 episodes ago, a little bit. We didn't really know a ton about it at the time, but if you want to learn a little bit more, check it out. But yeah, actually, this is actually huge. It really is, because the very first thing that sparked this Civil War, really, the first big thing, was the block size. That's what people argued about for so long. And now it seems pretty straightforward. He's just like, all right, guys, we got to put it in the roadmap. This is how we have to do it. We got it. The 248 plan is probably best, but however we do it, we have to increase the block size. End of story. So to me, it seems kind of crazy that there's been all this debate, day and night, and now he's just like, yeah, I think we should do it. Well, honestly, I don't even know what side he was on, but even if he was for it before, to me, it seems like when you put it this clearly, move one, move two, we have to do these things. It seems to me like people might generally agree with that, and I really do think it might calm down the Civil War, especially if you make it gradual, the 248 plan, whatever. I don't know, and then I want to know if you guys agree that it seems kind of obvious now that this is just what we have to do and what will probably happen with CORE. does it seem like a easy solution? Do you think people are going to agree with him?
Well,
if one
I'm
of you
looking
two
at the
want to
Reddit.
explain it to me a little bit better. What do they mean it's not a replacement for segregated witness?
He just means that we need that too. We want segregated witness and we want the increased block size. He's just saying they're both good things and we should have both of them.
Okay, and sum up segregated witness for me in about 30 seconds.
Okay. That was, oh yeah, maybe, was this just you and me, John? I don't know. Okay, well,
I think he was here, but I don't know.
Well, either way, it's a good idea to just quickly summarize it. Segregated witness was where they take the signatures from the transactions and they put them in a separate data structure so that the size of every transaction, and for the blockchain, every transaction actually is about half the size. So you can fit more transactions because they're smaller, and they're smaller because you put the signatures in somewhere else. Right.
Segregated witness. Yeah. I've actually never heard a better named program, or not program, but idea.
A better name? That's funny, because Andreas was actually, I heard him on Let's Talk Bitcoin saying how it's a terribly named thing.
No, but it's literally a segregated witness. It's better than
It doesn't tell you anything about what it does. It's in that regard, it's really bad. But at the same time, it sounds pretty badass. Like, it sounds like something from like a dystopian.
Yeah.
Segregated witness.
Yeah, like it's some like secret police force or something.
It sounds like a good book title, like The Upward Abyss.
Upward Abyss.
Oh man. So yeah, I guess there must still be tons of people who are just adamantly against this increased block size, but I have a tough time seeing it not happening if this is where things are at, I guess.
Well, so I'm looking at the Reddit post and like all the comments, and it has a significant number of upvotes right now. The post,
yeah, that's a good point. It's like the number one thing also, on Reddit right now.
It's interesting. Most people are actually arguing more over Move 2 than they are over Move 1. Pretty much everybody seems to agree on Move 1.
Okay, all right, that's interesting, but I guess
I've read multiple posts where people said, I agree with you on Rule 1, but I'm not so sure about Rule 2, or Move 2 and Move 1.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll get to Move 2 right away, but I also should say real quick, just in terms of clarification for myself, in terms of the block size, I think I would say that, I mean, to be frank, I still have a tough time being sure about anything, which I don't know. That's probably not a bad thing. I mean, it's hard. It's always hard to be sure about things. So,
what you mean? Which one of these? If you are for either one of the things?
No, I'm talking about Move 1 specifically. If you're for or against the block size increase, what I would say for myself is that it's hard for me to logically and, get evidence behind this and everything. It's hard for me to fully back the block size increase. I can't promise you that it's the best thing, I guess, but I can say that it seems like it has to happen. We'll see how it goes. It might be good, it might not, but I think it's worth trying, and especially a gradual increase. Let's give it a shot. I mean, people say we need it, and if we don't have any other solutions for getting more transactions, then let's try it. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Any disagreement there?
I mean, I just don't know enough about it. Before we do jump onto something else, do you think this coming out now has anything to do with Hearn quitting?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why. I mean, that happened a week ago, a week and a half ago, and people, everyone was having a big whatever, a cow about what's going to happen to Bitcoin, and and how can we fix things? He said it was broken, and obviously not many people want it to be broken. And so, yeah, I absolutely think that Erik Voorhees is just like, all right, guys, I get that there's all these issues about Bitcoin right now and in the community. This is how I think we can solve it. Yeah, I think that's absolutely connected.
Yeah, it seems like there's a bit of a crossroads. A lot of things are starting to kind of come to a head now.
Right.
There's just a lot of stuff going on right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we knew it last week, and I think we mentioned it and talked about it and everything. But yeah, this is an interesting time for Bitcoin, and lots of stuff is going on. So, are you tired of Bitcoin dice and ready for something different? Try LuckyBit, the original falling coin game, at luckybee.it. It's the most exciting Bitcoin game on the web. You can bet on 5 different payout lines and win up to 999 times your bet. You can even use their faucet to get some free Bitcoin. Dice is boring. Play different at LuckyBit. Check it out at luckybee.it. Yeah, I guess we can jump on to move 2 then. You want to take it, Tim?
Yeah. Move 2. Core formally, publicly, and clearly denounces the censorship that has plagued the community discussion and should apologize for not having done so earlier. Core is not responsible for the censorship, but stood silently by as it has happened, allowing widespread mistrust to grow out of control.
Yeah, so first of all, you mumbled a little bit, Tim, when you said the censorship that has plagued the community discussion. So that's what
denounces the censorship that has plagued community discussion.
Yeah. So I want to let you, John. I want to just, before we go anywhere with this, I want to get a brief overview of what you think about the censorship, because I know that's been a big thing for you, thinking about and talking about. And we've had some minor, maybe not real disagreements, but it's taken us some time to talk about what we think about the censorship and everything. So I want to get you first, John. What do you think about the censorship and this possible solution? Or not really a solution, but just the fact that they're going to acknowledge it.
Yeah, I think this ties in really...
Actually, before we get into any of that, and I'll still let you do this, John, but what do they even mean by the censorship?
Yeah, well, okay. So the main thing is on our Bitcoin. That's really, I think, the only place where there's actual censorship. And
our Bitcoin and the forums, they're both run by Thamos.
Yeah, so basically I'll talk about block size stuff like XT when that was... Is XT even a thing anymore? I haven't heard anything about it.
No, I mean...
Is that just completely done?
It basically fell apart. Yeah, it just didn't work out. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, I think XT, though, is the time when the censorship was, like, most apparent. Pretty much just anything that had to do with XT got instantly censored from Reddit, and I guess from the forums,
yeah.
too. And a lot of people got really mad about it, and then people were already arguing about the block size, started arguing about censorship then on the forums and on Reddit. As far as what I think about it, I would think this ties in really well with what we were talking about before about communication. You can defend Thamos' right to censor stuff and defend the fact that he's in charge of monitoring the forum all you want, but at the end of the day, I think if there's censorship happening, it reflects really poorly on the community, and it doesn't help anyone in the long run. So, like, that's the argument we've been having, I guess, is whether it's legitimate for him to be censoring things. And I guess my point is less about the legitimacy of it and more just about the actual like outcome of it, and how it's just not, I don't think, a good idea.
Right. And we've talked about this several times, and and we do that a lot. We repeat stuff and have the same arguments sometimes because they're tough questions and tough things to make sense of. But you can tell me if you would agree with this, John. I think one of the best conclusions we've probably come to is that we're not gonna force him to stop censoring people. We don't really believe in force. We're not going to ask them to write a law that says thou shalt not censor talk about Bitcoin XT. We don't believe in force, and that's kind of been the sticking point. Is Tim and I would say like, oh well, if he wants to censor, he can censor. Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever. We all don't believe in force really, but we're going to yell at him all day and all night. We're going to say, Thamos, stop censoring them. They might have a good idea. It might be a terrible idea, but we should know that too. Stop censoring them. Stop censoring them. Stop banning them. Stop deleting them. Just let them talk. If they're blowing smoke, they're blowing smoke. If they're idiots, they're idiots.
That's not necessarily true though for a Reddit thing, because a moderator has to delete a whole lot of shit. It's the fact that he was picking on a Bitcoin XT thing.
So
yeah, it was like a wholesale rejection of a discussion.
Right. And I'm saying we would ask him not to do that all day and all night. We just don't want him to do that, even though we think it's okay technically. We're going to ask him not to do it and request it and tell him and complain all day and all night that we don't want him to do that.
Just make a new Reddit.
Yeah, that's what happened.
That did happen.
But here's the thing.
But
here's the thing.
Then quit asking him.
Here's the Tim, this is the same argument we've been having before. We're not saying that Thamos isn't allowed to do this. We're saying the fact that he's doing it is bad. So we should try to convince him not to. It's not
bad.
Thamos is doing something.
Why is it not bad?
How is it not bad?
Because it's not.
Okay,
it's not bad. He's just being a dick. It's not.
Yeah,
bad.
how is being a dick not bad? Isn't that the definition?
Because everybody's a dick. Every single moderator on Reddit picks on something. No one is completely selfless about stuff. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just give up. Don't fucking hold on to this. But it doesn't really have all that much to do with it. But
I completely disagree.
Just make a new Reddit.
Why that's happened. And every single person on this thread is complaining about how our BTC sucks. And right before we started recording this show, Daniel goes onto our Bitcoin, and he's like, wow, I didn't realize how dead our Bitcoin has become. And do you think that's not because of the censorship? And do you think the reason that people got so pissed at each other over this whole debate? You don't need to ask him, because just leave it. There's no reason there's no point to keeping it alive. Like you're saying, because it was vital. It's
but it doesn't need to be. Just jump onto the next one. It's already lost. It
doesn't work
image.
like
it's already
that.
Lost
though.
Its
things don't work like that.
Yeah, but they don't build back. Things like that don't come back from that. You can't have.
That's exactly what people are complaining about with RBTC. Is like it's not what our Bitcoin used to be. And the thing is, if Thamos had stopped when people started questioning him, I think it would have been fine. Like that's the thing that I did with BTC Art Gallery, where we were talking about it, and he has all those memes up that people were making about the censorship that came out at the time, and how he had screen caps of the front page before it was censored and after, and all that kind of stuff. Like honestly, that's like one of the better like responses to the whole thing I've seen. Just him like documenting all that stuff so that it's there for people to see. And like nobody, it's not like people were just letting Thamos do this, and then after their thing was destroyed, they're like, "Look what you've done." It was a pretty immediate reaction.
Yeah,
and even people's reactions to the censorship got censored. So like people who were posting negative things about Thamos, like they got censored as well.
Yeah, I know. I can sympathize with this. Yeah, I understand the things that happened at the beginning, but how long has that been going on for now? Months. So I'm saying don't even acknowledge it anymore. All you're doing, like, part of the reason he's doing it now is just because people are bothering him about it now. There's probably a power trip off there, and if it's not, it doesn't even matter, because I guess my problem was Daniel repeatedly just saying over and over again, just please don't do it, please, blah, 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 blah. Just
wait. You mean just today or before?
Yeah, just what set me off was you doing it right now in the show.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think I've been that clear before. I haven't really. Before, I was mostly on your side, Tim. Like,
No, it's been pretty
well, if he
nebulous
wants
before.
to do it, he can do it. But yeah, tonight, and over the past few days, I've tried to clarify, like, in my own mind, it's okay for him to do it, but we still don't want him to do it, and that's kind of where
I'm
I think
fine
I
with
would
him doing
stand.
I get what you're saying, Tim, about, like, maybe now it's too late. I think that's the different, like, I guess the point that we're arguing about, and I think I maybe agree with you on that, like, at this point, it's probably not worth fighting Thamos over, because it's too late. But I think what Voorhees is saying, and I'm reading the thread, and, like, this argument kind of comes up where people are saying, well, Thamos is not a core dev, and the devs don't have anything to do with our Bitcoin. Like, they don't have any oversight over that. But what Voorhees is saying is less that, like, the censorship should stop, more that people have associated the censorship with the core devs, whether or not they have anything to do with it, and they should basically come out and say, we don't approve of the censorship. I think that's more what he's asking for in Move 2. Is just for the core devs to say, we don't think this is helpful.
Yeah, the verb there is denounce. He wants core to denounce the censorship. And
why? That's none of their business. It doesn't have anything to do with them. And I mean, that's what John just said. People's responses.
What he's saying is that while Thamos is not a core dev and the core devs have nothing to do with the censorship, people associate the two. And on their part, it's like a move of solidarity, I guess, because at this point, nobody trusts anybody else. And he's saying if they want people to trust them, they're going to need to do this.
Yeah, Tim, who cares if it's their business or not? If you don't like
it's
something...
appeasement. All this is appeasement for stupid people who can't tell the difference between things. And I hate that.
Well, that's everybody.
Or people who just...
But if you want to get something done...
I don't think that... I mean, I don't think... I don't know how much that will help getting something done.
He's saying this is how we get something done. This is the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah, but why is he the necessary end-all, be-all, what is going to get something done?
Let's not get into ad hominem things now. Like,
that's not ad hominem. That's me saying you're acting like it's proven already that it's going to work.
No, what I'm saying is you're not actually interacting with the argument that he's trying to make. He's not saying that they should be responsible for apologizing for the censorship. He's saying if something is going to be done, it needs to happen like this. And you're arguing over whether or not that's actually their responsibility. But that's not the argument that he's trying to make.
He is making that argument. He just says that they have to do this to get something done, and then he also says they're not responsible for it, but stood silently by. That still just that wording and that language still kind of blames them. Like, they stood silently by as it happened. Like, they weren't even... Why would they have to say something? He's still accusing them of something there. It sounds like it comes across that way.
No, see, the biggest thing
what
for me
he
is
says
just like,
later down in the discussion, it's a gesture and a meaningful gesture to demonstrate the principles on which they stand. And I could maybe see how you get that he's like accusing them, but I really don't think that's what the main gist of his argument is getting at all.
Okay.
I mean, to me, like I've been trying to say this for like 3 or 4 minutes now. The biggest thing is he's denouncing it. That's the verb, not him, but he wants the whole core dev team to denounce the censorship. And what I would say is, if they think it's bad, then they denounce it. It's that simple. Like, who cares if it's their business? Who cares if they're right or wrong? If they think it's bad, they denounce it. And I just happen to agree with him that, yeah, the censorship hasn't been a great beneficial thing. So I agree with him, and therefore I support his and their decision to denounce it. I mean, that's kind of where I stand.
That hasn't happened yet, right?
What hasn't happened yet?
They haven't made a decision to denounce it.
I guess it depends what you mean by denounce. If you mean for them to like make tweets about it, then maybe they haven't done that yet. But if you just mean for them to kind of...
I'm questioning because you just said his and their decision. Like they've already... Because you don't even know if they're... Like, do we know that they would necessarily be against it?
Yeah, okay, I kind of know what you mean. Yeah, so right, Erik Voorhees has said that he wants to denounce it, but yeah, we don't know about the rest of the team specifically, or as a whole, or whatever. Yeah,
I'm not meaning that as like a devil's advocate thing. I'm meaning I legitimately
right, and I don't either.
Know.
Right, and I don't know what the others think either. So yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, my guess is that they probably all would. I don't know many people who say that censorship is awesome. First of all, that, and second of all, the devs are probably the people who are least trusted because of the censorship. Like, it's damaged their reputation more. The only person whose reputation has been more damaged by the censorship, I think, is Thamos.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, he's taken quite the beating. No, I mean, from a lot of people. That's true. So, all right. Well, I don't know. I don't know if we've come to an agreement, but we might be ready to just about wrap up. Any other final thoughts before we do that?
Well, one more thing that I thought was a little bit interesting while I was reading down here is that somebody he was talking about. Erik Voorhees said the thing about how it's a matter of diplomacy and it's like a meaningful gesture for them to say that they don't agree with this. And then a couple people said something similar to this, that they do things, they put things into code. They don't engage in politics. And someone else said that, like, they don't need anybody's permission to do anything, and they don't need to apologize for anything. All they need to do is write code. And, like, I'm actually really surprised to read that stuff, that people are... I don't know, like, people freaked out so much about the block size debate, and now there are people who are saying, we don't need them to talk to us at all. Like, they should just write the code, and we will just trust them. Like, we don't need to know what's going on. We don't want them to talk to us. We don't want to talk to them. There doesn't need to be discussion. They just need to write code.
Well,
like,
yeah,
does that bother you at all?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the truth is that just because they write the code doesn't mean we have to use it. So, I mean, I would say communication is good, but if there is no communication, like, we don't have to accept whatever code they give us. I mean, so I kind of understand where they're coming from. Like, who cares what they code? Who cares if it's good or bad? If I want it, I'll take it. If I don't want it, I won't take it. Now, I mean, the truth is, I don't know if everyone actually makes that decision. Most people probably just take it without even thinking about it. They probably just download the new version and use it. But from a theoretical standpoint, I mean, yeah, who does care what they do? They're just coders. They can code whatever the heck they want. I may or may not use it. I mean, that's...
I don't mean to, like, fearmonger by what I was saying, and I realize now that I kind of came off that way. but like, I don't know, if you want like this to go in a direction that's actually good for everybody, why would you not want them to know what's going on and, like, what people's opinions are about things? Like, we don't need them to like come up with all these crazy like ideas and just start implementing them because they've been locked in a room and they have no idea what anybody else wants or what anybody else needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, in order for them to do the coding, they have to know what they're trying to accomplish, or they have to have someone telling them what they're trying to accomplish. And they don't really have bosses because it's an open source project, so the people that should be telling them what they're trying to accomplish should be the community. And that's kind of what they're going for with communication, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and I mean, if we actually want this to go in a direction that's like beneficial, like if we actually want useful features to be implemented.
Right. So it's like I said, they can code whatever they want, but if we want it to be beneficial, it would probably be wise for them to actually see what people are talking about and wanting and trying to develop. So yeah, it's true they can code whatever, but they should see they should at least think about and listen to what they're trying to code.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we're about done. I'll ask one more time. Any other final thoughts? All right, so for all of our new listeners on LRN.FM, we like to close the show with some advice of the week, and Tim hates that idea because we run out of advice after a few episodes, but I guess we're going to try and force it again. Because
I mean, you guess. You're doing it. You're forcing it right now. You're the one responsible for this.
That's completely correct. My advice... I think I'm going to say that my advice is going to be mostly connected... All right.
What? My advice is going to be... My advice today, boys and girls, will be mostly pertaining to the block size. We should all just learn to just talk, just communicate to one another, just talk nicely sometimes.
You got really into a Bill Cosby voice there.
I like halfway got it. I was like, that kind of sounds like him. I kind of.
That's actually exactly what I was going to say, but I've had a little bit to drink, and it took me a minute to get there. But yeah, I actually was going to say, and I thought about this like 10 minutes ago. I was going to say about communication that I think it's a good thing. That's my advice of the week. I think communication is a good thing. And like I said at the very beginning of the show, it's not the solution itself, but I believe that it's very beneficial in getting to a solution. That's all I got. That's my advice, is that you should try to communicate. Even though it doesn't solve things right away, I think it's good. All right, turning it over to you two. What is it? What's the advice of the week?
I have two things. One, I read this.
I was always with the two things here today.
Yeah, I read this in the Reddit thread. Somebody posted a quote from Edmund Burke that is, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." So that's number one. Number two is...
It's from Winston Churchill. Fat fucking British cunt.
Is it? Or is it Winston Churchill quoting Edmund Burke?
No idea.
Anyways, it's from somebody. I don't care who it is. I don't...
Actually, that probably isn't it from Winston Churchill. It's from somebody.
Yeah, screw attribution. I don't care who it's from. And that leads me, actually, fittingly enough, to my second point, which is to commemorate the fact that I'm pretty sure this is the second week in a row that I've stolen somebody else's quote for my advice. So, like, my real advice from me is to steal other people who are smarter than you. Steal their advice.
All right, good call. I like that. Steal advice.
Don't drink the gin, kids.
Is that your advice, Tim?
Yes.
All
That's
right,
not
don't
Daniel's
drink gin.
advice.
Yeah, that's not my advice. I'm going to drink it all night long.
Yeah, it is Edmund Burke. Who's Edmund Burke?
Isn't he like a poet or
Irish
something?
statesman. It said he's an Irish statesman.
Okay.
Author profession. I don't know what that means. It does say the related author was Winston Churchill, so maybe he just stole from him. I don't know how that makes you related, though. I mean, I guess I understand that makes you related. Yeah.
All right. Anything before we close, guys? All right.
No.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks to all of our new listeners. I really, really do hope you'll check us out, youmeandbtc.com or at youmeandbtc on Twitter. Thanks a lot for being here. We broadcast every Thursday, although sometimes it's a little bit after midnight by the time I get it out. So, Thursday night, Friday morning, something like that.
So not Thursday.
No, sometimes
you can always come
it
back
is.
to You Me and BTC to hear Daniel vocally stroke your balls off every Thursday. Thank you for coming and thank you for listening so much. You guys are the greatest.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure, why not? Okay. All right, every Thursday. We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for being here. Oh, hey, just because, like I said, I'm going to cut the intros, I'm also probably going to cut the outros. So the credits real quick. Thanks, John Stuart, for all of our music. He does every bit of music in our shows, except for one 30-second clip, 50 or 60 episodes ago. He does all of our music. So thanks for that, John.
Why do you always specify that?
Because, I don't want people to think that John wrote the Frozen song,
Screw
Let It
attribution.
Go. I don't want people to think that John wrote Let It Go. That's all.
I could have written it.
Yeah, you could have. You absolutely could have.
We'll say that.
All right. Anyway, thanks, John. See you next week. Peace.